Once the ceremonies wrapped up and the new administration began, questions about Barron naturally multiplied. In the preceding months, reports emerged suggesting he'd been accepted into a well-regarded university, potentially the New York University Stern School of Business. Whether or not that's confirmed, it's widely believed that Barron's academic interests lean toward finance or technology, fields well aligned with both sides of his family's influence. Friends of the Trump family whispered that the 18-year-old might entertain a minor public role, supporting certain youth initiatives or business ventures. Others suggested he'd remain mostly off-camera, focusing on building his own identity away from the Trump brand. Whatever he chooses, it's clear that he's at a crossroads. At 18, he's no longer a child hidden from the press, yet he's not quite ready to define himself in the public sphere. Donald and Melania, meanwhile, have expressed they're proud of how he's handled himself. Melania's interviews hint at a supportive approach, letting her son take the lead in deciding how much of the White House fishbowl he wants to swim in. Donald Trump, never one to shy away from spotlight, has kept relatively quiet about Barron's future, suggesting he wants to give his son the freedom to chart his own course. Only time will tell if Barron emerges as a quiet power player or a private individual determined to stay behind the scenes. Donald Trump's second inauguration didn't come without its share of heated controversies. In the wake of a turbulent election season, accusations surfaced from various opponents questioning everything from voter turnout to the legitimacy of certain legal battles. Trump's victory was a lightning rod for polarized debates, with supporters celebrating the comeback while critics argued about ongoing legal tangles. Some online speculations touched on Barron's role in all of this, with conspiracy theorists spinning bizarre tales about the youngest Trump's potential involvement in behind-the-scenes operations. None of these claims ever had real evidence behind them. But in an era where sensational stories spread like wildfire, it wasn't surprising to see headlines linking every Trump family member to some alleged big secret. Ivanka, still a figure of both admiration and critique, faced her own wave of speculation. Would she return to a White House advisory role as she did the first time, or would she focus more on her personal brand and ventures? Meanwhile, Tiffany and Michael Boulos had only recently stepped onto a grander stage with their marriage, leading to chatter about whether they'd forge a diplomatic presence or remain more private. Lara Trump, known for her media savvy, was rumored to be eyeing a possible future in politics herself. All of these subplots swirled around the main event, but none captured quite as many hearts and smiles as Barron's playful cameo. That lack of public presence wasn't just about typical teenage privacy. Barron and Melania famously maintained a very guarded approach to media appearances during Donald Trump's first term. Melania often emphasized that Barron's well-being and normal upbringing were her top priorities. Over the years, paparazzi captured only a handful of glimpses, maybe stepping onto Air Force One, walking into a Trump property, or heading off to a private school. Each time, the internet buzzed with speculation, dissecting everything from his facial expressions to his choice of wardrobe. But on the day of the inauguration, the onlookers finally got more than a fleeting snapshot. They got to see Barron relaxed, happy, and fully present. It was a reminder that even in one of the world's most scrutinized families, a teenager could still manage to slip under the radar until he decides he wants to be seen. Nobody expected a quiet teenager to steal the show at the biggest political event of the year, and yet, with one spontaneous move, Barron Trump turned heads at his father's historic inauguration ceremony, proving that sometimes the most surprising moments happen away from the spotlight. For months, everyone had been buzzing about Donald Trump's return to the presidency. The focus was on his agenda, his new cabinet, and whether he could pull off another term with the same flair as before. But then, on that cold January morning, the moment people ended up talking about most involved Barron and a simple group photo, right before Donald Trump raised his hand to be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. An unexpected burst of laughter rippled through a small corner of the Capitol. Ivanka Trump, Tiffany Trump, Lara Trump, and Michael Boulos were posing for a photograph, a perfectly orchestrated snapshot of family pride. Their smiles were set, the cameras flashed, and for a second, everything looked meticulously planned. That's when Barron made his playful entrance. With a mischievous grin, he slipped behind the group, poking his head into the frame at just the right moment. The look on Ivanka's face when she finally spotted him was priceless. She let out a big laugh that seemed to catch everyone off guard, lightening the solemnity of the event. In an instant, the inauguration became more than just a political ceremony. It became a snapshot of a family being, well, a family. Tiffany had her hand over her mouth, Laura raised her eyebrows, and Michael Boulos chuckled in surprise. It was a brief interruption,